Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a quick video on introduction to Stata window. It is very important to understand the interface of Stata so that you'll find it very easy when you want to do a model. So this basic understanding of Stata navigation is very essential for any Stata beginner. So that's the responsibility we have in this video to quickly navigate on Stata window. First, what should I say here? This broad space you see here, it says the result window. It shows the command and result of any model or syntax executed during the estimation processes. It gives you the output, in other words. On the extreme right hand side, this is the variable window. It keeps the variable of your model of your study. Underneath is a property window. It gives you the definition of the property of the indicators that you use each. Below the result window is the command window. It shows the area where commands or syntax are executed. On the extreme left hand side is the review command window, which gives history of your syntax or commands you've executed during the estimation processes. And on top of this bar, you have the menu bar that also gives information for those that are interested on in Stata using the menu bar driving approach. So you can't appreciate this video without interacting with data. So in the process, you may know how to import data from Excel to Stata and do a basic estimation. So quickly, for those that want to follow the steps of the window of this video exercise, and you don't have data by you, you can use the inbuilt data. To use the inbuilt data in Stata, you type sysuse auto. You click, you see that you've got data. You can browse and see what data you've imported. This is an inbuilt data. But in my own case, I'm not using this inbuilt data. I have my own data that I've processed, being saved in Excel. So I'll use my own data directly. Let me clear this. Type clear. Yes, I've cleared the data that I've just imported into the system. Now, the steps to import data from Excel. You say file, you go to import from Excel, you browse, discover the file. This is fiscal data Stata 3. You click this, you open. This pop-up menu will appear. Here, the area of focus is import first row as variable. You click this, variable names, you click this, and you say OK. This shows you the steps how to import data into Stata. Now you can see that under the review on the variable window, we imported new data. You may also browse now and see the data that I have imported into Stata. Let me close this window discuss about this window later. Let's start first on the variable window. I told you earlier that this window, a portion of Stata window, captures the variables that you're using here. As you can see, these are fiscal model, or fiscal sustainability model in one of the papers that I published. You have variable name and the label of the variable. Variable name normally refers to the name of your variable, and label gives you the full definition of your. But as it is, you've not got a clear definition of the name of the variable. This I have to make a special video related to that to show how to label a variable and how to rename a variable. Now just keep focus on this. These are the variables that we have: GDP, inflation, revenue, government expenditure, public debt, money supply, foreign direct investment, total debt services, political stability, corruption, and the rest of the others. That's what we have. And if you click each of these variables like inflation, it gives you the property underneath, property of the variables. Selected inflation, you can see from here, name is inflation, label inflation, although this is improper. We have to do a video, special video on labeling variables. You have variables, a total number of the variables in this particular model is 27. I have 27 information, but that is incorrect because I noticed that the system has generated other unnecessary variables. The actual variable supposes to be 12 or 13, not 27. So I have to delete those. Let us go ahead and see how that will be done. We have total observations of 49 observations. That means from 1980 to 2024. 2024. That's a simple definition of the variable window and the properties window. Usually when you want to use time series, you need to instruct Stata to inform it that you are dealing with time series data, not panel data, not cross-sectional data, or not survey data. You need to tell Stata related to that. Although this particular session, we are not dealing with modeling, proper modeling, but it is good to get that in mind at the start of the video to instruct the computer that Stata that you are dealing with time series. So in this case, the command goes like this: T set year, T set year, meaning we are dealing with time series data. It comes out like this. You see that this is a time series variable, the time variable year, then the period of the study starts from 1980 to 2024. That's what it is. And I told you earlier that this window command will helps us to type our commands or syntax that we're using for our estimation. As you can see, we just executed this set, this is a command. When you click, you get the answer. And the output is here, gives us information. To do more of this, let us just go into other components of Stata window to explain. I told you earlier that all of our commands will be kept here. This is the area where history of our commands are being kept, so that you find it very easy when you want to save into do file, which I will explain shortly. You just copy and paste and do some few adjustments. This is file on the menu bar, similarly as you do in your Word, Excel window. You can open documents, you can save as, view, you can get your new file, you can also get log Log normally helps you to keep your results, the result of your estimation of the model. Then we have imports, exports. You can print example data. These are inbuilt data. If you don't have data, you can also follow these steps to get given data. Of course, you can exit Excel as well. This is edit window. You can paste, select all, find table copy options, preferences. These are all functions that you can find under edit window. Of course, data can manage your variables here, your data editor, you create or change data, variable manager. These are all sorts of functions that you can find under data menu. Graphs, at the start of any formal time series or panel data estimation, econometric analysis is going to introduce a pre-estimation, and this includes one of these is graphing, showing lots of your graphs. It could be bar charts, dot charts, pie charts, histogram plots, as the case may be, scatter plots, metrics. So all of these distributional graphs, these are all sorts of graphs you find in Stata. And it depends on the nature of your study. You can do whatever graph you're interested in. Statistics, these contain number of models that you use in your modeling econometric analysis. Depend the kind of model that you want to use, either using time series data, panel data, or sectional data. For instance, for time series, you have models like arch and guide model, Framer models, on-off have component model, Markov switching model, threshold regression model, etc. So we have a lot of this. This also contains data, graphics, statistics. Window, this as usual just gives you a comprehensive characteristics of the window that we are using. You can see command window, results window, view, variables, properties, graph. So all of this you could find here in this particular portion of the menu. Help normally, if you want to get data, information about data, either commands file, whatever, you can use this area. Specifically, if you want to estimate or apply a syntax and you cannot recall the syntax structure, you can ask help to give you example of the syntax that you want to use. For example, you want to plot graph, line graph, to remember that. So you say help line. So you can see that we have additional information here, gives a new clear definition of how a line graph is structured. So what you do, you just ensure that you copy, for instance, you copy this command. This is the command for line graph. Right? This is the command for line graph. You copy this, you bring it, you close this one. Or you can minimize, you bring it right, and you command will paste it. You do changes. Here is a variable. LE_BM is a variable based on the example there. You can delete this. Then what variable do you want to plot? Is the inflation, right? Which year, how year is being typed. Mark you, Stata is case sensitive, so you must ensure that you type the variable exactly how it's being imported, right? So this is the year that we are referring to, so you have to type it. It has an initial parameter. So when you click, you will see that we have an output of the plot inflation. So that's what it is. We have to do a specific video discussing on how to plot graph, multiple graphs or single graph. We have to. This is just an example. So you can see icons here. This is an icon for open, save, print, uh, log, beginning equals or suspend, resume, log. This is very important when you are doing the estimation where your results will be kept, so that at the end of the day you can just go there and adjust your tables that you will put into your paper. And this is bring graph, window, forms. These are all different functions. We have what we call do file. Do file is very important because it helps you to keep every command that you've used in the estimation of your model. We have to define, we have to discuss that later. Data window edit. When you click this, it gives you your data, right? But the most important thing here, it helps you to do adjustments of your variables. For those researchers that normally like to adjust the value of a variable to suit their narratives in terms of political discussion, definition. This is the best area for it. But that's not professional. It's not professional to just manipulate some data like that. It's very important you follow econometrics rules before you do some kind of an adjustment. But it's not professional. I'm just showing you what it entails. So here you can edit anything. For instance, if you want to edit 23.369% of inflation for 1981, you can do that here. But that's not professional. I must emphasize. Again, this is data edit browser. It gives you the same function, but the only thing here, you cannot do any editing. You can't do anything. You cannot delete anything here. It gives you the same function. So basically, those are the things that you're supposed to know in terms of interaction with the data window. I spoke about the results window. The results window, where your results usually appear when you do an estimation. So what we do here is this. Let us do some examples and see how we type command and how results will be appeared on the results window. For instance, what do we want to do? Let us do summary statistics. You do a summary statistics, say sum, then you select the variables that you want summary statistics on. You say real GDP, inflation, revenue, government expenditure. You click this public debts, money supply, foreign direct investments, total debt services, political stability, corruption. Go further. Say this is a product of corruption and political stability, meaning a combined product of the two variables. We have two variables here. We have corruption and we have political stability. So in combine how these two variables impact economy, and we also have individual impact. That's what the researcher is interested in. Then this is a dummy variable capturing a shock in the economy, a particular economy. This thing you see in 2010, there was a shock, twin shock. That is a drop in commodity prices, and we also have Ebola outbreak. So that's a variable that we generated here. So you click this, but we don't need it because this is a binary stuff, so we don't need it. So let us remove this job for the moment and click. So you can see that we executed a command known as sum all of these variables, and this is statistical output, statistical indicators. We have variables, we have observation, mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, as you can see. So maybe you may want to get a further details of these variables. You may want to know the variance, skewness, and the kurtosis of the variable. So you can click here the same, because we need the same command. You see, comma, say data. So it gives you additional information about each of these variables, including variance, skewness, and kurtosis. So added to our mean, median, added to our mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum. Also got additional information, variance, skewness, kurtosis. So you can copy all of this table, design it well in Excel, what as the case may be for your data analysis. But I think we have to do a special video, how video, how to generate statistical variable results. Also give a definition of each of those indicators because it's very important in data analysis. Yes. So you can also give additional command that I want to apply here for the purpose of proper understanding. You can also run a simple regression model of this variable. We capture real GDP as independent variable, inflation as a dependent variable, force revenue, government expenditure, public debts, money supply, or indirect investment, social debt services, political stability, option, yes, corruption. Then let me skip this. All right, let me just include all of this. So that's what it is. These are simple. You go ahead and model. You can click so you can see the output. This is just to show you that when you type under your command window, you get results on your results window. So this is a simple regression. I have to make a special video to give a special attention definition of a simple regression between the characteristics of OLS model, defining all of this and their impacts, and also giving the interpretation of its value. So that's what it is. I told you about do file. But before going to do file, let me do something for you quickly. I told you earlier that this system automatically brought in some variables that are not necessary. So I need to drop this. I don't need this NOPQR, right? So there are two ways. You have the keep command, then you also have what we call drop command. But because we want to use two commands for the purpose of this exercise, we need to employ one trick, that is a preservation. Meaning if we drop, we want back to restore those variables to apply the other model or approach. We can do that. So first you type preserve, you preserve the commands that you want to do. Then you see drop. What do we want to drop? What we don't want in our model. We don't want this N. S go T U V W X Y Z A A, right? We don't need this. So these are the variables. So we drop, right? We drop. When you go back, you see that we dropped those unwanted variables. Now the data is very clean. But I told you about two approaches, right? We've done the drop approach. The other approach that we want to use is the keep. The difference between the keep and the drop is this. A drop, you select the variables that you are not interested in, you drop them. To keep, you select the variables that you are interested in to keep them into your model. So we want to bring these variables again. So we say restore, enter. So you can see back, if you go back to data browser, you see that those variables have been brought in again. Now let us use the other and the keep command so that we can drop, can keep the variables that we're interested in. So what are the variables that we're interested in? Type keep. We are interested in year variable, real GDP, inflation, revenue, government expenditure, public debts, uh, money supply, foreign direct investment, total debt services, political stability, corruption, product of corruption and political stability, and of course we have other variables. These are the variables that we're interested in, so we keep them. So if you go back, you will see that yes, clean our data using the keep approach, which is very important. So I told you earlier about file. File is very important. Um, at times you want to keep your commands in a very safe place, so that if you want to do a replication of this, or you want to share your estimation commands of your model, you do that by giving them into a space called file. I told you about the file. This is a new do file if you want to do. When you click here, you have a new file, right? So you minimize this. What you do, you've already got what we call an existing command. You have an existing command. So you may come here and highlight all of these commands. There are 20, and so you copy them. Copy all of this, bring them where? To the do file window that you just created. You paste. You see that all of our commands and even the directory of a file is here, of course. So you can manipulate on this to make a clear definition of what actually you've done here. So what is the purpose of this information? To type text that is not recognized as a command, you can either use forward slash or use asterisk. Any of these that's used can work. So what we want to type here, we see introduction to Stata. Yes, introduction to Stata. That's navigating, navigating, navigating Stata. For instance, this is what you want to type, right? So what are the commands that we use initially at the start of the video? You can use asterisk. We use inbuilt data, this command, and also use what we call browse command. Also use what we call clear command. Then we use what we call file directory. Then we use of course browse. We define that. Then we also use time series, and we instructed data, the S data that we use time series data. So we see time series. Is what then we also applied what we call help command. Help. Yes, we use help command. Then plot a graph. Plotting graph. Then also the statistical statistical dimension, statistical indicators. Then for that, also applied what with a simple awareness model. We browse, we find that one, then we can say we apply what we call preservation of variable. Then we use what we call drop command. Then this one here is restoration. You just type exactly what you've done, then you make it very easy. You keep variable command as the case may be. So these are different commands. In your own way, you define this so that for your own interest, maybe you may want to come back and replicate these commands. You can just write and you execute. We don't want to do that, but we'll do that in a special video. Show you how do file. This do file also is very important if you are working in a project which requires sharing of commands or your estimation settings. You can also use it to share with others. So far, these are just a simple introduction to Stata, knowing the components of your Stata will, how to navigate. This is just a simple. In subsequent videos, I will do all the things which I would like you also to follow and share. Thank you very much for your attention. May God bless you.